warm temperatures are sticking around, and I know they're probably killing your fall vibes, but the good news is it's not as humid and muggy and gross as it was earlier in September. 90, 91 degrees for your highs today, overnight tonight though, 65, 66. So we still have our comfortable evenings and mornings, but unfortunately there we are looking at some warmer temperatures in the afternoon. But again, hey, when you don't have that heat index near as bad as it was, it's really negotiable out there. I think it's something we can deal with there. Now records, it's not as bad as it was back in 1977, of course, the year that Star Wars came out. If you're a Star Wars nerd like I am, you know that. 98 degrees at DFW in 77. Waco reached 100. And norms were still above normal here. 84 at DFW, that's a degree down from yesterday. 87, that's staying still from yesterday in Waco. So I think we're at a pretty good medium here between normal and where we unfortunately could be. We're still relatively cool on the last day of September. We'll go into October, and unfortunately, things are going to still stay relatively the same. Medium high for your allergens today, more elm and ragweed out there. I know ragweed is one of those allergens that really causes those issues, and it looks like it may stick around a while. So just keep up those remedies and those medications and things as we go forward through the coming week. Now, unfortunately, in addition to the warm temperatures, we have very light wind out there. That's going to combine to make air quality not that great, especially in the Metroplex and those adjoining counties. So there is an air quality alert through tonight, including Johnson and Ellis counties. The good news is we have a front coming in. It won't do much for temperatures. Unfortunately, it's just not going to cool us down much, but number one, it'll reinforce the lower humidity, and then two, it will increase the wind. So it'll mix up the air a little bit, increase the air quality for our area. Now, there's quite a bit to talk about in the tropics. The good news is not much of it is really going to affect us. I do have part of that, unfortunately, behind that graphic. I apologize, I didn't test it beforehand. But what we have in the main development region here and in the Atlantic Basin, just in the open waters, just this train here. First, right off the west coast of Africa, we have this 80% chance of development for this system. We have Tropical Storm Kirk that has just formed, and then Tropical Depression Joyce. So Joyce will kind of go out into open water and probably not do much more. Tropical Storm Kirk, though, could become a major hurricane as it goes again out into the open water, so not affecting us necessarily. And then we will have to watch this other system to see what track it will take. It could very well stay out in open water as well. So for a very active season, that's not a bad scenario to look at. Now, closer to home, we do have this system that we've been watching, this little disturbance here of, I would say, there is some circulation to this just broadly in the Caribbean. Now, here's the thing. Yesterday we had a 50% chance of development. The National Hurricane Center is starting to back off that a little bit. Models are starting to kind of downplay this a little bit. So that is the good news. We are seeing this not get as intimidating a forecast as we were looking at, but we will have to keep an eye on it because really nobody wants anything right on the heels of Helene. Speaking of Helene, the remnants here in the Ohio Valley going to be making their way off to the east, so they will finally be making its way out of there, and good riddance to it. All the damage that you've seen on the eastern seaboard there, we will do just fine with it making its way out. High pressure controlling our weather today. You can see this circulation up in Canada here. That has sent a cold front that, again, will move through tomorrow and really not do much for us, aside from kick up the wind, the breeze a little bit, and then reinforce the lower humidity. It won't bring temperatures down at all. It's just not going to have that push of cooler air. And unfortunately, in the forecast, we don't really have much more of that to give. 90 today with calm winds, 91 tomorrow. We do have a breeze there, so that'll be something. Wednesday, 90 degrees, 91 Thursday and Friday. And as we get into the weekend, not much help. Temperatures have been trending upward in this forecast. You'll remember this was mostly mostly upper 80s. It's mostly 90s now. So unfortunately, we're just looking at that kind of situation where we have warmer temperatures in place, high pressure is sitting there. I am watching longer term models to see what is going to happen over the next couple of weeks. That's an eternity in terms of forecasting here, but it is worth watching those trends. So I will be keeping an eye on all of that. And I often tell people that you can expect your first big cold snap around or on Halloween. So the end of October, a lot of the times when we get that first big chill of cold air that comes out of the north, and we'll be watching for that. I'm hoping maybe the models will verify somehow, some way this far out, and we could get a decent push here, probably the second full week of October here. So I'm going to continue to monitor this, and really the models are putting that around the 12th, 13th time period. The Euro model actually gives us a cold front sometime towards the middle of next week as well. So we'll see what happens. There's a couple of indications that we could start getting the jet stream to dip a little further south, which is what we need to get those cooler temperatures. But for now, today, air quality is not great, so just keep that in mind. It gets a little more windy tomorrow, but we stay warm throughout the forecast period.